Who are Mark and Luke? Well, let's find out who Mark and Luke are, or what they are. Again, theirs. So I made what you might call, kind of a radical, maybe even outrageous statement in my last presentation, and I'm going to prove it now. And I'm going to prove it virtually using just the scriptures. Okay, so who is Mark and who is Luke? Well, let's look in the Bible. Well, we got 3 verses that mention them, and this is it. Colossians 4:14. Luke, the beloved physician, and Demas greet you. 2 Timothy 4:11. Only Luke is with me. Get Mark and bring him with you, for he is useful to me for ministry. Philemon 1:24. As do Mark, Aristarchus, Demas, Luke, my fellow laborers. 2 Timothy 3:16. All scripture is given by inspiration of God and is profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness. 1 Corinthians 14:33. For God is not the author of confusion, but of peace, as in all the churches of the saints. So all scripture is given by inspiration of God, and God is not the author of confusion, but of peace. So on the last side, we have all scripture is given by inspiration of God, and God is not the author of confusion. So now what we have here is a little piece of that. What I was talking about in the previous presentation. So we have Matthew 8:28. When he had come to the other side, to the country of the Gergesenes, there met him 2 demon-possessed men coming out of the tombs, exceedingly fierce, so that no one could pass that way. Luke 8:26. Then they sailed to the country of the Gadarenes, which is opposite Galilee. Next verse, 27. And when he stepped out on land, there met him a certain man from the city who had demons for a long time, and he wore no clothes, nor did he live in a house, but in the tombs. Now we have Mark 5:1. Then they came to the other side of the sea, to the country of the Gadarenes. Next verse, 2. And when he had come out of the boat, immediately there met him out of the tombs a man with an unclean spirit. Okay, so we do have confusion here. And even from the lexicon and everything else, it's a long thing. But let's look at it. We have Matthew, who is an apostle. But who's Luke? Who is Mark? And who can write scripture and who can't? That's coming. Hang in there. So you can see from these 3 versions of the same story, mistakes. Okay. You have in Matthew, Gergesenes, and then you have in Luke and Mark, Gadarenes. Okay. And then we have another, a mistake? Okay. In Matthew, it's 2 demon-possessed men. In Luke and Mark, it's 1. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm postulating the possibility that these 3 gospels are in contradiction, and therefore something must be wrong. Okay? Okay. A gospel has to be right, or a gospel has to be wrong. See what I'm saying? Because all inspiration, you know, all the scripture is by inspiration of God. So how can we have mistakes? And we're going to get to that. So one way of looking at these conflicts here is that, every 300 years, dialects change. So we could have just the space of 300 years or 1,500 years that would account for these discrepancies. And there is a lot more of there are a lot of contradictions between Matthew and Luke and Mark. A lot of contradictions. That shouldn't be, right? So let's look at them. Let's go through them and let's examine and find their truth.